going to call this meeting to order. We have a quorum present, and so call it to order at 5:02 p.m. And roll call is Brandon Maxwell is not present. Becky Kimball?
Present.
Tim Caldwell?
Present.
John Frasca?
Here.
Scott Walker?
Here.
Dave Nakagawara?
Here.
Jeff Kosteka is absent, and Debbie Yankee is here. So we have a quorum.
And we have a picture of Kate.
Oh,
A lovely picture.
yes, it's a lovely picture, but we don't have to call roll for her. She's present. Okay, we've done roll call, so let's move on to public comment. Does any member of the public wish to give public comment? Do we have any public online that would like to give a comment? Okay, let's.
I would.
Oh, okay. You don't need to know how to unmute yourself. You already do. Go ahead, Vivian.
Okay. I'm jumping in the public comment part because I have an idea about a busman's holiday, which would mean people taking the bus around the Olympic Peninsula using different transit services, including Jefferson. And I wondered if anybody on the transit advisory group was up for that.
It would require an overnight, right? You said that in your email?
Right. To go around the whole peninsula, you can't do it in a day. It takes an overnight, and depending on which direction you go, it could either be in Hoquiam or at Claylock. So it could be a motel thing, a camp thing, trying to keep it open as it gets off the ground here.
Okay. Tim, you wish to respond?
Well, just in Vivian, I wish I could help you at this point, but we did do that before, and it is fantastic. It's a great idea, and the services are much better than when we did this, and this was in late 90s, early 2000s. So congratulations. But yeah, I really support this, but unfortunately, I can't make the trip right now.
You're a little busy.
Yes, but
Is,
it's a great idea.
Is anyone else
Yeah, I was.
on the board interested in participating in something like this?
I don't think the dog would be okay with that yet. He's not
Yeah.
quite old enough yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's something that really appeals to me, but the overnight stay concerns me. I don't do well away from my home at night.
You and me both, John. Anyone else want to talk about this right now, or shall we just think about it and see what we can come up with? Looks like we're getting nods to think about it and see what we come up with. Is there a timing that you're talking about, Vivian?
Well, I'm thinking like in the next month or so.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
probably.
mean, like
Yeah.
like early summer, and as opposed to high summer.
Okay.
And what would the purpose be?
Just to publicize riding the bus. They pique people's interest in the bus and know it can be used, and real people can ride it and report back that it wasn't terrifying or horrible.
Oh, yeah.
And that it was fun? Yes, Commissioner
Yeah,
Dean,
fun,
you have your hand up.
Yeah, sorry, I'm running from one meeting to another, but I would be interested in doing this.
Excellent.
Yeah, I think it would be a good thing to publicize and also just to experience and see,
Right.
how our connections and how our different agencies functioning together well, and where could that improve. And so I'd be into it. I could see there might be some other transit board members that might be interested too.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
Okay.
this was the first meeting that came up since I thought, what a great idea. So I'm starting with the transit advisory group, and I can reach out to the regular board members, and I'll reach out to just ordinary people. So if you have friends or family or acquaintances that think it'd be a great idea, pass their names on to me, and I'll contact anybody who's interested, and we'll see what we can do.
Oh, great. Thank you. And you're thinking sometime in the next month or two?
Yeah,
Okay. Thank you very much for your comment.
thank you.
Okay. Is that all the public that we have?
There's one more person that joined, but their hand is not up, so
Okay.
we ask again.
if we have public on Zoom that would like to make a comment, please raise your hand so that we know you want to make a comment. And let's see, if you are on the phone, please press *9 to raise your hand, and please press *6 to unmute if you wish to comment. Member of the public.
They're not raising their
Okay.
hand.
It looks like we have no more public comment. Okay.
Vivienne has raised her hand
Oh.
again.
Vivienne?
I have to allow her to talk again.
Go ahead, Vivienne.
There. Can you hear me?
Yes.
One last comment. I really appreciate the Transit Advisory Group and thank you so much.
Thank you.
We appreciate you. Thank you.
The end.
Okay, so we will move on then here. We have consent agenda to approve. And we only have, in our consent agenda, we only have the minutes for March 6, 2024. Does anyone have any corrections or changes to the minutes, or would someone like to move to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Approve.
We have a so moved, and was that a second I heard up there?
Sure.
Okay, and a second. All in favor? Aye.
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 Okay, we now move on to unfinished business. And the first item on unfinished business is a public outreach update, which is a staff update.
You skipped over a few.
What did I skip?
New
New
agenda.
agenda items.
Board update.
Oh, I'm sorry. I sure did. Sorry. We have a board update. Thank you very much. I assume that Commissioner Dean is going to give us the update.
Well, I'm not in a great position to give an update because I missed the last meeting. I'm sorry to say. So I don't know how we should handle that if Nicole wants to maybe weigh in.
I would love to give a quick update.
There you go.
If
Thank you.
that's acceptable. Okay. So the last board meeting was on Tuesday, April 16th. We got a lot accomplished. First, we heard a presentation by Peak Sustainability, which hopefully all of the TAG members did their homework and listened to that presentation. That was a good presentation by Peak Sustainability. We passed a resolution, a capital grant agreement for our STBG funds. And then right away, we moved right into a resolution authorizing me to purchase another electric bus. So we have another electric bus on order. We passed a resolution authorizing me to sign with Barker Creek Consulting. That group will be the project managers for our third maintenance bay. So we kicked off our third maintenance bay project with hiring these consultants. We're really excited. They're go-getters. So just happy to see that project moving right ahead. We reviewed 2 policies and adopted changes to 2 policies. The first being Jefferson Transit's travel policy, and the second being our purchasing policy. Just some minor changes in both of those policies, but those were passed. Then we had a discussion on the Climate Commitment Act, and I provided a report for the board, and I also included that report in the TAG packet as well. So you would have had an opportunity to read that. Then we moved into our manager updates.
Any questions for Nicole about the JTAB meeting? In here? Tim, go ahead.
Nicole, what are the arrival times for the electric buses?
Ooh, we don't hold your breath because it's going to be a long time. But we do have one electric bus on order. We received the Green Transportation Grant, so we placed an order last year. We need to have that bus by June of 2025. So I'm hoping early 2025 for that bus.
Okay.
The one that we just ordered, I would say probably late 2026. If things keep going as they have been going. So that's estimated timeline.
Great. Any other questions for Nicole on the authority board update? Doesn't look like it. Okay. Now may I move on to the consent agenda?
You mean new agenda items?
I mean, new agenda items.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I'm looking at too many things on my little screen. New agenda items. Does anyone have anything they would like to add to the agenda for today's meeting? Anyone up on screen or in the room?
Yes, I will.
Okay.
I was just gonna say for an announcement, but it does involve transit, so, yeah, it has to do with the May 5th event at the golf park.
Okay, can we cover that now, or do we have to add it somewhere else?
I would add
Put it under new business?
as C.
Okay, we're gonna add you to new business then, Tim. Golf park update. Okay. Okay. We shall now move on to unfinished business for my third attempt, wrong time. Public outreach update.
That would be me. I had put the documents in your guys' packet, but just to kind of briefly go over it, I am trying to do a continuing spreadsheet just to show that we are growing our social media following on all of our platforms. I have not done any other paid ads to try to get likes, so this is just natural following from people that might, I don't know, try to search for us and follow us, or maybe see our flyers around. I always put information on all of my advertisements to follow us on social media. So that's great that we're still getting good following there. And I added LinkedIn on this one. That wasn't there last month. That one is also growing, which is good because that's where we put a lot of our recruitment ads. And then the QR code scans. It was surprising to see that this is growing as well, and this is a good thing. So we have flyers with these QR codes in all of our shelters, where we've been putting them at tabling events, and then I've been putting these QR codes on different advertising flyers. So it's nice that people are actually using them and clicking on them. So they go to our website, our rider alert page, and all of our social media platforms. And then we've been doing some general advertising. We did a advertisement in the PDN Forks Forum, and it was explore JTA's Olympic Connection route. So just trying to help promote that route, and listed all the stops with some QR codes. And I put a little thing in there that we're looking for a West End rep for the Transit Advisory Group.
Thank you.
I have not gotten any applications yet, but hopefully someone will be interested out there and see that. And then we also put an ad in the PDN 2024 Visitors Guide. We did this last year as well. And this Visitors Guide, I think he said it goes to like 50,000 different places. It's on the ferries. It's all around. So hopefully this will help people be interested in riding the bus.
Great.
A lot of staff attended, and we had a table at the Moving in the Right Direction conference. That was in April. And Nicole was at the Connectivity Fair in April as well. And just some upcoming events. PT Farmers Market is this Saturday, and Deb and Becky will be there tabling.
Yes,
The Roadie Parade is coming up, and we will have a bus in the parade again. The Chimacum Farmers Market is on June 9th. The last PT Farmers Market that we'll be tabling at is July 20th. The Jefferson County Fair is August 9th through 11th. We've talked about the All County Picnic. Nothing is for sure. That's August 18th. Wooden Boat is September 6th through 8th, and the Closing Fair is September 21st. And that is all I have. Does anyone have any questions?
Any questions from anyone in Zoom land or in the room?
I had a question.
Dave.
Thank you. Under that part of the report that talks about QR code scans, so that's the number of times somebody has scanned the QR code to subscribe, is what that means?
Yeah, so the QR codes, it can either go to any one of the places, our website, a page on our website, or our social media. So it just means that
Okay.
they scanned it. Doesn't mean necessarily that they then followed us or did anything else, but they just scanned it to go to whatever page we directed them to.
Yeah, I don't know if this, qualifies as community outreach or not, but upon subscribing to the rider alerts, I find them to be really helpful, and just really nice to know if there's a delay or something, route's been canceled. So it'd be interesting to see how many people are subscribing to those alerts, or maybe also how many alerts are being issued during a certain point in time. Because I find them to be really good, and it's really cool tool to just know what's going on.
Good. Yeah, I have not yet subscribed. Sorry. Thank you for that comment, Dave. Any other comments for Kelly's presentation? Up on the screen? No?
Well done, thank you.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Gotta go back to the agenda. Okay, public outreach update. Tag member bus riding report out. Does anyone in Zoom land want to report on their bus riding experience? I know Becky has one with her four-legged friend.
I did. No, it was great. We took the bus from San Juan Avenue out to Fort Worden and then walked home. And bus driver was great. I said, "Can I bring my dog on?" And he said, "Yeah." And I talked to a young woman whose car is broken down and she's temporarily using the bus and thinking about using it more. She was going to Peninsula College, and there were 5 other people on the bus, and it was great. It was easy, on time, fabulous.
Good.
And I get double points because I took the dog.
I don't know that we get points, but okay.
Oh, okay.
John, you look like you have something to say.
Yeah, I had a good experience. It was funny that with the dog, I was using the Dial-A-Ride last week, and there was a last minute need to pick somebody else up. We were in the small van, and of course, that's always tight with my wheelchair. But the other person we needed to. Well, actually, the other person was already on the bus when they got to my location. But the new driver, Robert, did a great job of maneuvering me on, because the woman had her dog with her, and we were both worried that the dog would get excited about my wheelchair. But Robert handled it well, and it worked out for everybody, and it was good that we were able to pull it off. And then I did ride the number 11 to the moving in the right direction, and that worked out well. I messed up on the way home because I got sidetracked and didn't make it out to the bus stop in time, so I decided to just wheelchair it home. But that worked out too. It was good.
Great.
Right.
Thank you. Any other tag member bus riding reports?
I have one.
Go ahead, Tim.
I took the Kingston Express.
Ooh.
I walked down to the park and ride, hopped on the bus. It was kind of cold, so the driver let us get on the bus early so he could warm up. There was about a half a dozen of us. And then I got to Kingston, walked on, paid my $1 to take because it was a senior, $2 for to downtown Seattle. Just missed the connection to West Seattle, where my kids live, and so I had to wait about 20 minutes for the next boat. That was $2.50 to get to the West Seattle side. I could have gone up to Ford and taken a bus for $3.75. But this entire trip cost me $3.50, and I got there in about 2 hours' time. So
great.
It works. It's very nice. Yeah.
Good report. Anybody else have a rider report to make? Doesn't look like it. I don't have one.
I have a suggestion. Whoever, when you guys are riding the bus, if you want to maybe take a picture of yourself on the bus and then send me the information to post on social media so that our followers can see that our tag members are riding the bus and how easy it was. And like for you, you made it all the way to Seattle in 2 hours, and it only cost you $3.50. If we drove ourselves, it takes 2 hours, and you're buying your own gas. So that might be something good to share.
Yeah, sure.
So if you guys are interested, send me an email with details. Pictures not required, but if you're with your doggy, it might be nice to
Yeah.
have a
Becky could take a picture of Sid, and it would be nice to have a report somehow from John with 2 people on the dial ride. That's always, and a dog. That's a big deal. Anything else on this subject? Looks like we can move on. Do you need anything else other than you'd like us to actually document these events?
That is all.
I don't like to take pictures, but I could take them of other people. Yes. Okay. We have a climate action plan update.
So curious, did everyone was everyone able to watch?
JTAG?
I didn't, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll go through just really briefly the presentation by Peak Sustainability. Those are the consultants that are helping us with the climate action plan. They did a great job summarizing the plan and what we've done so far, and the things that we'll be doing for the remainder of the year. So just as a recap, Jefferson Transit is creating a climate action plan. This plan came out of the long range plan, which was completed in 2022. We hired Peak Sustainability to help us. We have the goal was we start at the beginning of the year, and the plan is to finalize this plan in December at the December board meeting. So a pretty ambitious schedule, but we are moving right along. So in the presentation, they talked about reducing JTA's operational emissions, reducing community-wide transportation emissions, and building a transit system and community resilience to climate impacts. They had a brief slide about kind of the timeline and when things are happening. And again, we're moving right along. So the first portion of the public engagement started April 19th, 15th, I think. All the days are running together. I think we kicked off our survey on April 15th.
This is the climate survey that's on the
Yes,
website.
and it goes through June 7th. And hopefully you all received my email. I did send everyone out a link to the survey. And again, the survey, if you haven't taken it, it's asking some climate related questions about transit. It's also asking some service related questions as well. Again, with the understanding that the more people that choose or have to ride Jefferson Transit as opposed to a vehicle, that's overall helping the community's greenhouse gas emissions. So we kicked off that with the survey. Again, that's going through June. You'll see those posters around. They're in the buses and in the shelters, and we're working our way around the community to get those up. Folks can click or scan the QR code, and that'll take them right to the survey. We do have paper surveys available as well. Those are here at Four Corners, at Haynes Place, at the Quilcene Community Center. So different areas or places where folks can have those paper surveys. We'll also make them available at the tabling event, so the farmers market, if folks want a paper survey. I will say it's really easy to, if you haven't already done the survey online, it's pretty easy to do that survey online. Once we start moving into late June, early July, that's when we'll start doing focus groups and interviews with groups that we've identified, and we being the Jefferson Transit Project Group, along with Commissioner Dean and Cindy Jane. We've got some input from the board, but we're going to start those interviews so that'll kind of get the ball rolling as far as getting the community thinking about Jefferson Transit and climate. We'll have virtual and in-person open houses in September and October. And then again, hoping to finalize the project end of December. Peak Sustainability will be here for our July meeting. So they'll be here to present to this group. And when I say here, they will be virtual, but presenting to this group. So we'll have an opportunity to hear more from them, ask questions at that point. We were trying to spread out the times that they were coming to speak to our groups. So this group is on deck to have them come July 3rd, I think that is.
Oh.
Some interesting information. I won't go through all of kind of what they were talking about, but we did do a greenhouse gas emissions. They came up with a summary. We used 2022 as our baseline. So we were established and created a baseline for us so that Jefferson Transit staff can replicate that and we can mark our progress as we're moving forward. So no surprise, but the biggest source of emissions is our mobile fuels for revenue fleet vehicles. Those would be our buses. The second item was employee commutes. So 88.7% of our emissions came from our revenue fleet. 8.62% came from employee commutes. 2.32% came from non-revenue fleet vehicles. And when we say non-revenue, we mean our supervisor vehicles, any vehicles for the shop that are out running around, those kind of things. So where we're not carrying passengers.
Okay. You want to wait for questions till the very end?
No, you go right ahead, Tim.
In terms of when you bring an electric bus into the fleet, what's that factor in terms of that 80 percentile?
So that's a good question. How will the electric bus impact this? And so I'm really actually excited that we did this. We used 2022 as the baseline because we got the electric bus in 2023. So it'll be interesting to see like how we'll be using, like how many miles, how many revenue miles was that vehicle out, how often did we use it. So we should see that number, that percentage decrease with the addition of electric vehicles. So then we'll be able to gauge and really see the impact of running electric vehicles versus biodiesel vehicles. 0.35% was our electricity use, and that is really attributed to JPUD using clean resources for electricity. We did not have any refrigerants that we were using, so that is a 0%, but that is because we use so little refrigerants. So JTA emissions are equivalent to 0.62% of countywide transportation emissions. And really that's not surprising to hear. And it really drives home the point that the more people that we can get on the bus, the bigger impact Jefferson Transit is going to have in the community. So it's really just key is getting anyone out of their car and onto any type of Jefferson Transit bus.
Excuse me, what was that 6.2% number?
It's 0.62.
Is what? What is that number? I'm sorry.
Those, so in 2022, JTA emissions are equivalent to 0.62% of county-wide transportation emissions.
Okay.
So less than 1%.
Right.
So the best way to reduce the county's overall greenhouse gas emissions is by getting people onto a bus. And whether that's an electric bus or a biodiesel bus, it's just getting them onto public transportation.
I'm glad you clarified that point, Tim, because putting more people on the bus does not change Jefferson Transit's emissions amount. It lowers the community emission amount.
Right. Correct. Yes.
That's a beautiful statistic to somehow banner.
And
Yeah, I would agree, to really advertise how few people you actually have to get on the bus to make a really big difference.
Yes. We get this notion that the buses have to be full or they have no impact, and that's just not true.
It's not
It would be
true.
great if they were full, but they have a big impact anyway. Any questions or comments for Nicole on this report? Any other questions or comments?
yes, I am.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm hogging all the questions here.
Go right ahead.
But with the process that you've just outlined and the schedule of it, and I know the city's in the middle of a significant comp plan review, and I'm assuming the county is as well. Is everybody in the barrel at the same time on their comp plans?
Yes.
Okay.
The
So-
county is a little behind the city, a little later than the city, isn't that correct? Are we all?
No, we have the same deadline now.
Oh, we do?
End of 2025.
Oh,
Yep.
excellent,
Okay.
excellent.
So that bit and the idea of these, everyone's gonna be having community gatherings. How do we blend these things, or are the schedules all off? Are we gonna be double clutching through this comp plan process on where transit sits in terms of city comp, county comp? and-
So we'll definitely be looking, when we schedule our events, we'll definitely be looking to make sure that we're not in conflict with the city or the county. Again, a lot of our interviews will be done just one-on-one, and so then we'll be hosting the larger event. And again, we'll do one in-person event and a virtual event. We're also going to be looking for opportunities to get us out to South County. And that just might be JTA staff running that. But we're going to look for ways to be out to really kind of capture or ask people to come and provide input and also give them information about our plan.
I would like to ask Commissioner Dean, because she will know, city and county comp plans are the two bodies of electeds are working together on comp plan at the same time. Isn't that correct?
Yeah, and portions of it we need to work together, but there will be some some that's just separate. The city doesn't have a rural element. The transportation element is totally separate given our different geographies and jurisdictions. But that's one place that I think transit will be a really helpful participant, is working on the transportation element specifically.
And my question is that the process that you're setting up, is that in the same dialogue as a comp plan, or does it stand alone? I mean,
At this point, it stands alone.
okay,
Because transit is the one thing that connects us all.
yeah,
So,
but well, I'm assuming it's both and. I mean, you're riding two horses here. I mean, you're trying to do the plan for transit, but at the same time, it's integral to the comp plans for the city and the county.
Right. So transit is, we'll be attending the comp plan meetings. I'm part of the non-motorized plan stakeholder group. We'll be attending, the county meetings. I've been listening in on, a lot of the discussions that the county and the city and the port and the PUD have been involved with. I haven't been there in person, but I've been listening virtually. So we're kind of making sure that we're covering our bases and that we're thinking about what the city and the county is doing while we're also doing our plan. So we're involved, and I think there was one meeting, and I forget the acronym, Commissioner Dean, of the I think it's GM
Growth Management Steering Committee.
Yes.
Okay.
And Josh Peters was saying there will be a time for transit to be involved, and so it's not necessarily sitting at that table. But I've been listening to those meetings to make sure that I'm kind of aware of what's going on, and the conversation is very interesting when we're thinking about what's happening, so that when the time is right and when they reach out, that we're aware of what's happening, and we're not starting from scratch. So we're staying involved right now, and when it's appropriate, we'll be.
Okay.
who'll be working on that.
I mean, both comp plans have designated transportation sections, so
Mhm.
I mean, that would be it, but it's, to me, it belongs in almost all the sections in the comp plan, so that's where I was curious, is whether you're going to start the transit process with the comp plan in mind, but it sounds like you have a specific process you're gonna stick to.
Yeah, and this is really a plan for the agency.
Gotcha, all right.
And I think Scott has a question.
Go ahead, Scott.
Sort of a sidebar with Tim. You mentioned double clutching, and I wonder if that's two clutches of eggs at the same time, or whether we're trying to double clutch to get them both in gear at the same time.
I'll teach you how to drive one of these days, Scott.
So you're talking about getting it into gear.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
That was all.
And I know that the city is in the process of updating its active transportation plan. Commissioner Dean, what's the status with the county's active transportation or non-motorized transportation plan? Is that being updated at the same time as well?
I don't know that we have one as such. We have our transportation improvement plan, which actually most years is at least 30% trail projects,
Oh, okay.
which is great. So it's not all just road projects. But I don't think that is something that we've had or is required, and I'm not sure if that's just that the city chooses to do one or if it's a requirement in cities. But the county, unless there's something I don't know about, I still occasionally hear about something that I've never heard about in 8 years in this job. That would surprise me. Maybe Scott knows.
Scott.
There is an active or non-motorized plan at the county level, but it's pretty old.
Older than ours?
It actually might be, because I worked on it
Okay.
before the city plan. So it needs some updating, that's for sure. Maybe I'll chat with Josh about it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Anything further on the climate action plan update? Any hands up? Any other comments?
That's great.
Okay. Then we will move on to Moving in the Right Direction conference report. I suspect there's quite a bit to say about this. Who would like to lead this discussion?
I could start off on it. But
Go ahead.
I think it's a great discussion item for Nicole to tell us what she thought. I think it was a great success, and we really appreciated Transit's support on this, and I think Transit gets a lot out of it, or will eventually get a lot out of their investment in it. And getting to one of your comments, Tim, to make sure that the transportation element is part of all the other elements, that was the hopefully the takeaway that people got who came to the conference, that we didn't want to have a siloed plan. We wanted to have a comprehensive plan that recognizes how transportation is integral to realizing the goals and visions of the other elements of the plan. In fact, if you don't include transportation, it'll run over all those other elements and become a potentially poison pill for realizing our visions. We had I haven't actually added up the numbers, and I need to do that, but we had about 70 people there, and at least half of them were electeds or staff from planning or public works at the county and the city level. We had one or two representatives from the DOT. We had someone come over from Clallam County government.
The port?
Port, yes, we had a port commissioner there.
You had two of them there,
Two
We did?
commissioners And,
Yep,
and
we
Dave.
and me.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. That's right. You worked there. I forgot, Dave. You skipped it.
Yeah.
And we also had the editor for the Leader there, which was great. And the publisher came by and took a couple pictures during the day. And then Kirk Boxleitner interviewed me the next day and put in some interesting quotes that I never said, but I'll stand by them anyway.
They were at least sort of accurate.
They're accurate enough, or they embellished his article so that it fit
Paraphrasing.
his movie critiques. We have a copy of Mike McGinn's presentation.
Great.
I tried to film the whole day, but it's a new thing for me to film things. Anyway, anyone who wants that McGinn video, I'm happy to forward it to you. It's great. Listening to it twice was worth it for me. And Tim, I don't have your email, so I couldn't forward it to you. I was looking for that. I've got an old one for the EDC from you, Tim. There was good feedback from people who attended. One comment that I found interesting was during one of the afternoon sessions, maybe it was morning session, one of the sessions where the participants engaged with each other at their own tables. The question was, how would, if you couldn't drive your car, how would that affect your life? I can't remember the exact wording on that question. And Emma Boland said that she couldn't work anymore if she didn't drive her car, which I thought, oh, well, there's a transit discussion for Emma Boland because she lives in Sequim and
She rides transit too, by the way.
Yes,
she does.
Yeah. She just has some difficulties from time to time, like when she has a planning commission meeting or possibly a council meeting that
Yes.
goes really late. So those have been known to go to 10:30 or beyond sometimes.
Oh yeah, I can see that if she's got an evening meeting, I can see
Yeah.
that it wouldn't work at all. But
She does enjoy riding the bus because she's able to crack open her laptop and get some work done. So but I
that's so
think
good.
she's talking about, the full 40-hour plus work week, and it's difficult to accommodate all the variability there. She's also allowed to work from home from time to time. So I know she tries to maximize those opportunities.
That's great to hear, Dave. Thank you
Yeah.
for filling in the details.
Yeah, she's one of the persons I talk to on the bus. She used to be my boss. Yeah.
Port City collaboration, yes.
Yeah.
Any other? Oh, wait, we had a T-Lab meeting on Monday and we kind of debriefed on this, on the day's activities. And, well, shortly after the conference, all of us just said, that's it. We're never doing it again. It is a lot of work and it's pretty stressful. And then Becky did a huge amount of the grunt work and then got COVID and couldn't attend, which wasn't fair.
No, it wasn't fair.
Other comments? Well, let me close by saying that, our goal is not project oriented, it's policy oriented. And we think that the effects are going to be not immediate, but hopefully felt over a very short period of time, that things will change at the county and the city level in terms of policy to get us on our feet, on our bikes, and more on the bus.
Great.
And address parking, of course.
Yes, address parking, of course. David or John, do you have
Well-
comments on this?
Yeah, I certainly was worth spending the day there. I enjoyed it thoroughly. I would definitely like to hear Mike's speech again. That would be worthwhile.
Yes.
And I enjoyed Anna Zevart's presentation, and look forward to seeing her book that's coming out in just a few days.
Oh, great.
Later. Her book is titled "When Driving Is Not an Option: Steering Away from the Automobile."
Excellent. We'll have to look into that. Let us
So,
know where
Kelly,
we can get it.
Kelly, if I forward you that video, YouTube, can you then send that out to the tag?
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay, great.
Okay.
You have any comments, Dave?
Yes, I thought it was a very good conference, and I thought it was a real good balance between the presentations and work that we did around the individual tables. So I don't know how that was arranged, but there were some good groups, in terms of having a mix of different perspectives at the table, and I thought those were really good. And with Mayor McGinn's presentation, or Mike McGinn's presentation, I think a video is great because there were some really good visuals in that presentation that really hammered home the point.
It would be nice if we
Point
could
two is
post
great.
that somewhere and send people to be able to look at it.
Yeah.
So
Thank you for all who put that on. That was very good.
Yeah.
Becky's responsible for figuring out this plan to get mixes at the tables.
Yeah.
They
only
wouldn't let
place
us sit with our friends.
Yeah.
The only place
I think that actually helped. We had to sit with people we weren't close to, and so we actually had to engage and have discussions and conversations, which comes
we
harder
had
for
one
some.
table where it was a problem because they both got the same color tag, John Morrow and Steve King, so they ended up sitting together.
I saw
Have
that.
I don't know that they have the same color. Did they have the same color?
Yeah, we tried really hard to separate everybody. So I saw them sitting together. I was like, what is going on? What really happened?
Kelly, thank you so much for being the monitor because I would have been the room monitor. Man. You didn't have red. Get over here. Yeah.
We're
Well, we
very
couldn't have
sorry
done
you
that.
didn't get to come.
It would not have been as a smooth a day without Kelly's help and
Yes.
and the other woman. What's her name? Samantha?
Lisa
Lisa.
And Savannah.
and Savannah.
Yeah. Savannah
Oh, yeah,
helped us
Savannah.
set
And
up,
Nicole.
Yeah, and Nicole was there too. Yeah.
And who's
I can't take all the credit.
Amy? It was Amy that said it. She was great. It was wonderful to have her at our table for our discussions and our filling out of our forms and things. That was really nice. So, anything else on this? Nicole?
So I thought it was a great day, and I think the timing was so great because it got a lot of people thinking about the upcoming comp plans, and the next, the city is hosting an event May 9th, and I think people who are interested in the city's comp plan, I think a lot of them were also at this event, and it kind of gave them an opportunity to start thinking big and think, I think there's a lot of value in when you can dream without restrictions. And a lot of times, I think we forget to do that. Like, imagine what things could be. I think the practical side comes in a lot. I know for me, some of those visions about transit were pretty grand and bold visions, if I can use that word. And the practical side of my brain was like, oh my God, we don't have a budget for that. And I have to remind myself to stop doing that and to really just sit with the big ideas. So I think that day really kind of allows you to start thinking a bit bigger and then figuring out, okay, well, maybe I can't do that one great big thing, but what can we do to get us a little bit closer in that particular direction? And I love that so many people in that room were thinking about how transit could help with that goal of getting more people, out of their cars and making it a community that really feel comfortable walking and biking. So I love, again, this, second time I loved the day. I loved hearing what the speakers had to say. I loved the having Anna there and talking about mobility issues. I think that sometimes that's easy to kind of gloss over, and I think it was so important and impactful to have her there and talking. So thank you for Scott and Becky and David, who's not on part of this group, but for allowing us to have a space where we could think big.
Let's not forget this great skit that came out of the table
I want them to do that at every planning commission and council meeting until the comp plan is done. I want a new performance every time.
Ghost of planning past.
Yeah.
What a great idea.
I will say for the introverts at my table, when we were told to be creative and a skit or a song or a poem, all of us just cringed. And then we incorporated some art into our vision. Yes. But one more thing I wanted to say is, so the day before the conference, Jefferson Transit has to do site visits with our WashDOT representative. And her name is Elizabeth Safston. And so she and I spent Thursday afternoon together. And then she came to the conference on Friday. And afterwards, she said that she thought it was a great use of her time, but also she knows other people that should attend next year along with her, where she thinks that would be really impactful. So no pressure. But she said, I really have a better understanding of Port Townsend and Jefferson County by sitting amongst, the community members. So good feedback from her.
Yes.
Well, we did say the day before, we're never doing that again. And then on Monday, we started thinking about what we're doing next year. So.
Yes, it was a wonderful conference, and breaking people up to people they don't know, I think was helpful. And I know I sat there and go, what do you mean music or skits or what a ridiculous idea? And then they gave this wonderful skit that actually pinned it on exactly what we were trying to accomplish. So I shut up. They were right.
Well, just as long as everybody feels like it's okay just to get up and talk. No pressure to be a performer, right?
I was very critical of that idea even before it was presented to the conference. I just thought that's crazy. This will never work. We're all left-brain people, so
guess not.
I learned that I don't know everything.
Wasn't that a shock?
Yeah, it was actually. I recovered though.
Yes. Any other comments on this subject? Okay.
Well, I have to thank Transit. They did a lot of work. They helped and come and set up. And Nicole is actually part of our T-Lab. I mean, they were really a huge help.
And we didn't go in the hole. We have a little bit of money left over for next year.
Good. No, I hope you do it again. I think it was much more this year than it was last year in terms of interaction and the information that came out. So I really appreciated the effort.
It was a lucky chance meeting of mine with Ariel, the facilitator. The story is that I got on a chairlift with her at Stevens Pass and rode the chair for 7 or 8 minutes. And that's the longest I had ever spent with her, other than conversations on the phone, kind of talking about what she does in our conference. And I think that she helped us put together a really great conference this year. And she actually afterwards said she was pretty impressed by how many people and who showed up, because she's worked with bigger cities and they've had lesser involvement. But we know that about our town.
I'm always appreciative of how much staff and elected show up and engage. And that's, those are the people that are going to make the changes. So
yeah, I think we had about half.
Yep.
Staff.
No, it was wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Any other comments on this? We will move on. We're going to move on to the website project update.
Yes. So, where are we at on the website? Staff met with Civic Plus to have the kickoff meeting to just kind of discuss how things are going to go and what the next steps will be. And I talked about deliverables that they're going to be asking from us. So he has sent us a list of stuff that we need to provide, such as our logo, our branding guidelines. We have to give him information for the domain name, sign up for Google Analytics. So all staff related type stuff. So we're working through that. And I had sent an email to the website working group. He did give us another list of websites to look at. And he wants us to pick our top 3 favorite websites and 3 of the ultimate designs. There's special design features that you can have built into the website. So that has already been sent, and there was a deadline, and I did get some feedback. So now we have to compile all the information and complete the last forms to them. And then they have some other meetings that we're gonna set up, and I will be reaching out to the website working groups with details of next steps as soon as we know more information.
And we have a tentative go live date of,
Oh yes, so now the tentative go live date is October 31st. So it does seem like it's a ways out there, but there's a lot of stuff that has to be done, and we do have to work with their schedule as well. So it will come fast. And it will be amazing when it finally gets
And this is so necessary for us to be able to engage in the things that we want to have for the future. So I'm real excited about it. Who's on our working group from this board?
We have Dave, Brandon, and John.
Great.
And then there's 3 board members as well that are on the working group.
Okay. Any questions on this subject for Kelly? I'm not seeing anything up there. Questions? Okay, thank you very much. Okay, we are going to move on to new business, and these were both provided to JTAB, and they were very interesting, and so I was hoping you would be willing to do your song and dance again,
Yes.
so that the
so
Group
is
can
the
hear it?
first one of the Climate Commitment Act? Is
Yes.
that right? Okay. So I, at the April board meeting, we spent some time talking with the board about the Climate Commitment Act and the Move Ahead Washington. And I put together a report, which I hope you took a minute or two to read, because I really outlined what is the Climate Commitment Act, what is Move Ahead Washington, how does Jefferson Transit benefit, and what is Initiative 2117, and what are our next steps. So I outlined kind of all of that information, but this is important stuff, especially, I mean, for the state, but also for transit. So the Climate Commitment Act, the legislature passed that act in 2021. And it directed Washington State Department of Ecology to develop and implement a statewide cap and invest program aimed at cutting carbon pollution. It thus created a market-based approach to require the state's largest polluters to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. So I laid out some of the key points. One of them was the program works alongside other critical climate policies to help Washington achieve its commitment to reducing greenhouse gas emissions by 95% by 2050. So really, it's the Cap and Invest program. So that was established in 2021. In 2022, in March of 2022, the Senator Marco Lias and Representative Jake Fye, along with WISTES, which is the Washington State Transit Association, the executive director, Justin Layton, pushed really hard for Move Ahead Washington, which is basically a legislation package. This transportation package allocated over $16.9 billion over 16 years for major projects throughout the state. A sizable portion of the Move Ahead Washington included transit. So $3 billion was set aside for public transportation. So there were grants that were developed, one of them being the Transit Support Grant, the Green Transportation Grant, the State Bus and Bus Facilities Grant. So lots of different grants came out of this Move Ahead Washington. And where Move Ahead Washington is getting its funding is from the Climate Commitment Act, so the Cap and Invest program. Along with transit benefiting from Move Ahead Washington, but I mean, we were talking about hybrid electric ferries, rail projects, walking and biking infrastructure, safe routes to school, fish passage, barrier removals. So lots of projects were wrapped up into Move Ahead Washington. One big aspect of the Move Ahead Washington was a grant program called the Transit Support Grants. And in order for transit agencies to qualify for these transit support grants, agencies needed to pass a fare policy that allowed youth ages 18 years of age and younger to ride free in order to be eligible for any of these grants. So youth at this point can hop on a ferry, they can hop on a bus, they can hop on light rail, and they do not need to pay a fare. In a sense, we're building the next generation of riders. In 2022, Jefferson Transit passed the fare free or the zero fare policy, where we did away with all of our fares. So except for at that time Kingston, but we took it one step further from just youth to everyone. And then last year or this year, we went zero fare with the Kingston Express. Some agencies around the state were really impacted by not collecting fare for their youth. So some of the large agencies, it's not just a drop in the bucket. It's actually a really big deal that they weren't collecting fares. And so they were using their transit support grant money to offset the cost of not collecting fares from youth. So there is the possibility that if Move Ahead Washington gets repealed, or not Move Ahead Washington, the CCA gets repealed, that we might see some of those fares reinstated around the state. I do not think that Jefferson Transit would go in that direction, but other state agents or other transit agencies may need to move in that direction if they're not receiving their transit support grants. Again, I know we've talked about the battery electric bus that we have on order, and that was because Jefferson Transit's a recipient of the Green Transportation Grant. Also, there was a plus up on our special needs transportation formula grant. We had approximately a 55% increase with the funds that came from the CCA. So so far we've received approximately 2.5 million in funding from Move Ahead Washington. We're estimating that in 2025 to 2027 biennium, we would also see roughly 2.5 million. So totaling about 5 million. In the last budget, Jefferson Transit was awarded an additional funds for another electric bus. However, we are not doing anything. We're not making any crazy moves there, because if this is repealed, then those funds would go away. So lots of benefits to transit agencies through the Move Ahead Washington. So Initiative 2117, here's where things get a little dicey, because I can tell you about Initiative 2117, but as a transit agency, as a public employee, I can't tell anyone how to vote, and neither can you, because you're representing, if you're tabling, you're representing transit.
Yeah, I wanted everybody to know about it, even though we can't do anything but give information.
So I've listed out just some of the reasons that are being discussed in favor of repealing the CCA. I've also listed out some reasons in ways that the CCA is having significant impacts on environmental policies. And I did say in the report that so on Initiative 2117, a yes vote supports prohibiting any state agency from implementing a cap and trade or cap and tax program, and it repeals the CCA. A no vote on 2117 opposes prohibiting state agencies from implementing a cap and trade or cap and tax program and opposes repealing the CCA. The language can get a little confusing.
How come they allowed that? That's the stupidest ballot.
It's
terribly written.
Yeah,
On purpose.
yeah, I think so. So I put next steps. So in January of 2024, Governor Inslee directed all public agencies who are benefiting from the Climate Commitment Act to start using a logo. And so if you're on our outdated, soon to be gone website, you'll see a logo that says funded by Washington's Climate Commitment Act. So all agencies are required to, if they have a bus that had Climate Commitment Act dollars, they got to put a sticker on it. On the website, information that's going out, we need to designate what we're using our Climate Commitment Act dollars for. So we have something on our website. You'll see that logo. We'll also, Kelly created just kind of a one-page flyer that we're laminating that we'll put with your tabling supplies that you can just put on the table. At the board meeting, Debbie, you brought up, where do we direct people?
Yes.
And I have not found a good website that explains both sides in such a way that it's not,
taking
I'm
a
not
position.
pushing,
It's just giving
someone in a
information.
direction. So if someone is engaging you and you're tabling, if you're actively representing transit, my suggestion is to say something to the effect of, there's so many great websites out there. I encourage you to just start with a basic Google search, and you'll be able to land on several different websites that will explain some of the pros and cons of the initiative. But I don't have a good website for you to say, go here and you will learn all you need to know equally about both sides. If you come across one of these websites, feel free to send it to me.
Okay.
But I was doing some research and I just couldn't find one that I felt pretty comfortable with.
But we can't do anything that takes a position. We
Right.
can give information, we can't take a position.
Yes. Yeah.
So the Climate Commitment Act doesn't have a website or any kind of
Well, but here's the thing is
FAQ question.
if we're going to direct someone to something, it needs to be balanced so that it's not being perceived as we're telling you how to vote.
Yeah.
So
but it's on our buses and it's going to be on our table, right?
Right. So anyone can do a Google search about the Climate Commitment Act, and then they can go to the pages that are either for it or against it, or do a little research
Is it
themselves.
okay when we are tabling to say we are not allowed to take a position? And just to let people know, we can give them some information about where they can go to look up information, but we just say, we are not allowed.
Yes.
We are not allowed to take a position on this issue.
That is just
Okay.
fine. So the Washington State Transit Association, which Jefferson Transit is a board member, we are working with a marketing firm to coordinate an educational campaign to really kind of get out the information about why you should be riding transit, and then a separate campaign about the CCA. So there will be, as we kind of get into the summer, you'll most likely be seeing more information on Initiative 2117. But I just wanted to kind of just give you a little bit of information about what's happening, why it's important, the benefits to transit. I'm not telling anyone how to vote, but if people are asking you at a table,
And they might this weekend.
I would.
So,
But I will say, no
why I asked
one asked me at the Connectivity Fair. No one asked me about it at all. So we'll see.
Yeah.
But that would be my best piece of advice.
I promise I will not wear a tag that says, ask me about the CCA. I promise.
Very good. Very good. Any questions?
Any questions on this subject? No? Yeah, Becky and I will mind our P's and Q's this weekend.
Okay, if you don't mind, I'll move right into
Ridership.
comprehensive
I'm sorry, yes, comprehensive
operations analysis. So
Thank
at the last meeting was kind of a downer. I told you no consultant had responded to our RFP, and Jamie, Brooke, and I made a few tweaks. We put it back out, and we got 3 respondents. So we are in the process of evaluating those responses. So there's myself and Jamie and our 2 operations managers, Amy Hall and Sarah Peck. Commissioner Eisenhower also scored, and Brandon was supposed to score. We'll see if time allowed. But I think we have a good scoring group. And then hopefully we'll be making a decision in the next day or so. But the ultimate goal was to have this before the board at the June meeting. So this will give us a little bit of time once we've identified a consultant to work on the contract. Usually that takes a little bit of back and forth. So the goal is the June meeting to have identified someone and be authorized to sign a contract with them, and then we can move ahead. This project will take probably close to a year. That's kind of the time frame that we're looking at. There will also be public outreach. So I know we're hitting the communities hard with everybody wanting a piece of everybody.
Everybody's got an
It's like speed dating. Just talk to each one.
So, but we have, we will try to offset it so that it's not interrupting our climate action plan. But again, the whole point of this, hiring a consultant to do this work, is to really help transit staff evaluate what is our current system, what is working, what isn't working, help us with thinking about different service models, maybe different vehicle types. How can we reach more people with the bucket of money that we have? So I think it's a really good opportunity for Jefferson Transit staff to put ego aside and really take a good hard look at what are we doing and how can we be doing it better with the help of really some professional transit planners. So I'm excited. TAG will definitely be a part of this process, an integral part of this process. So we'll be bringing you right along on this journey with us, but that's our update for that. Any questions?
Any questions on the comprehensive operations analysis? Tim, you have a question for everything. You must have one.
Nope, I don't.
Nope.
I think
I think it was thorough, and I'm really glad that somebody bit this time.
I know. I'm excited too.
Okay, great. Well, thank you very much. Next on our agenda is a ridership report. Who's going to?
Me again.
Wait, we added an agenda item C, the golf park.
That's
May
right.
5th
Oh, we
event.
did, didn't we? I'm sorry. I'm not doing a very good job today. Sorry.
What?
We have a brief report on the golf park event.
Well, it's the May 5th, which is our first Sunday of the month, which will be every month, obviously. But it's also the 120th anniversary of the golf course. And it's also the grand opening of the new name and logo and everything for the golf park. And at the April one, the first one, the one in March, had about maybe less than 200. The April one had over 400, and we're expecting maybe up to 1,000 people. So we've already talked to the churches on both sides in terms of parking, and the police are going to be involved in some sort of traffic control on Blaine Street there. But it's Sunday, the buses aren't running, but it is going to be, and so it will be a traffic revision at that point there. But you're welcome to show up and see what's going on there. It's going to be pretty impressive.
It's all pretty exciting. It's not like people aren't excited if you're going to get 400 to 1,000 people.
Well, we both of the first 3 we had, January, March, and April, have been not very good weather. We'll see what May brings, but yeah, it'll be different. And even the old codgers who love their golf course are kind of getting used to it.
Bless you.
And Scott's been a wonderful neighbor to have there. So.
But Becky hasn't?
Oh, Where's Becky live?
It's her house.
That, in my
In the same
in
house?
my
Oh,
house.
yeah, well, I never see you, I only see Scott.
Yeah, all those golf balls.
Yeah, all those
Yeah.
golf balls. Any questions about the golf park event this
No.
weekend?
I can just say that the previous two were really quite good, even though the weather wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. I'm looking forward to it.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. Have I finished the one I skipped now? Okay. Kelly's smiling at me. It must be okay. We are now going to move on to the ridership report.
So we have included the ridership numbers that we presented to the board. So those were in your packet. So I won't go through each one, but we do have a few highlights. So as this group knows, we've really been comparing our 2024 numbers to our 2019 numbers. 2019 was our benchmark year. And I'm actually excited for 2025 when we can stop talking about 2019, but not quite yet. So I think what's really exciting is that in February of 2019 compared to February of 2024, we were off by 5.19%. So we were just down by 5.19%. And for those of you that remember, at one point we were down 69%, 68%. So we've been watching these numbers kind of, tick back, and I'm excited to get to that zero where we break even and then we start exceeding what we did in 2019. In March, it looked a little bit different. We were down 8.76%, but still a good showing for March, and that was on our fixed route, our fixed route numbers. Our JTOC, we're still not looking as great. February, we were down 35.13%, and in March, we were down 38.04%. So still a ways to go on our JTOC numbers. Kingston, wait for it, drum roll, compared to where we're comparing not to 2019, of course, but to 2023, we saw an 81.22% increase in ridership. And in March, we saw a 50.11% increase. So Kingston is definitely up, and I know that has a lot to do with the zero fare. It makes it just that much more attractive.
It's just so routine. It's the best deal in town by far. There's no question.
There's no graph actually for Kingston, is there?
There may not be a graph for Kingston. Maybe when we have a little bit more data, we can do that.
I was just paging through it.
Yeah. So I think overall looking good. Dial-A-Ride is also up. So we've seen an increase of 25% of January to February, and we saw a 7% increase from February to March in our Dial-A-Ride numbers. That's a big deal. So I'm sorry, I'm reading something. And then also our average daily ridership in February was up 86%. In March, it was up 65% compared to 2019. So Dial-A-Ride is definitely bouncing back, and we're really feeling that, at transit. So we're having to, add additional drivers to make sure that we can accommodate all of the requests. So we've been really busy as far as, with our Dial-A-Ride passengers. But overall, I'm pretty happy with our fixed route numbers. But again, we're not going to, I really want to exceed the 2019, and then we can just stop talking about 2019 and we can just kind of
Be sequential again.
Move on from 2019. I don't want to talk about COVID anymore either, but we're getting there. We're slowly getting there. So that's exciting. Does anyone have questions about the ridership numbers?
Anyone up in Zoom land have questions? I'm curious, I don't see much recovery in the SQUIM ridership. Is there a a possibility of an explanation for that? Something different going on?
There isn't anything different going on, and I did also notice that. Like, why is that one not coming back up? And I don't know if that's more work from home. Maybe if
Might
people aren't having to commute in, that might be. But really, nothing else has changed. The connections with Clallam are still still right there. So people aren't having to wait a long time for their Clallam connection to get to Port Angeles or out to Walmart or whatever. So I'm not really sure why we saw a dip in those numbers from January, other than January we had some not great weather. If people were just more
We had
comfortable.
some things that were canceled, actually. So,
Yeah, and not in February we did, but not
Okay, not in January.
March. I think we were going strong. I
Okay,
don't think we had snow in March.
okay. Well, we can hope for recovery.
I could be wrong. I can't remember. It was a lot
Okay.
of snow this year.
Any questions up there in the Hollywood squares? No? Okay. Anything from you, Tim, on this subject? On the ridership? No, you're good? Okay. Then the last thing we have on our agenda before we get to public comment is agenda planning. Are there things that people would like to have on the agenda, staff, for our July meeting, other than we're going to listen to you told me something we were having in
We're
July.
having the consultants in there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
consultants.
peak sustainability will be at the next meeting. I don't want to say it yet because then you might hold me to it. I don't want to commit.
But you won't tell us
Yeah,
what
but
you
I
don't
was
want to
thinking
commit
of
to.
another like Transit 101 kind of talks. Maybe just to give a little information about something transit related, but
Okay.
I need to check with someone first before
I will write it down.
I commit.
Okay.
But you're not going to tell us what it is. Okay, anything there, agenda planning for July, anything you'd like to see on the agenda? Nope, lots of head shakes. We will wait and see what comes up.
Okay.
Do we have any public comment here at the end of the game?
There's one person
There's one person.
online.
Person online, would you like to make a public comment? If you would like to, please raise your hand. If you're on the phone, press *9 to raise your hand and *6 to unmute.
They're not raising their hand.
I don't see that we have a public comment, so I think we're actually going to finish a little early unless anyone here would like to make a comment for the good of the order. Looks like not. Okay, well then, let us adjourn this meeting.
So moved.
Thank you very much. So moved.
Thank you all.
Second. All in
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.